Yeah, Dan, tell us about it.
Well, my name's Dan Millican. I've lived here in South Fayetteville for over 4 years now. I've worked in the environmental field as a stream biologist. And there's a stream, an urban stream that runs through the neighborhood. It's
Town Branch, West Fork of the White River.
Yeah, it drains into the West Fork, and I hike with my dogs all around this neighborhood. And my friend Aubrey here with me were talking about how trashy this one area was just due to the nature of the way the bridge was built and the sharp elbow in the stream right here, and how it really would take that much effort to clean it up. So we're out here today. It's about 45 degrees. I mean, it seems stupid to be out here.
I think it's still about 38.
But this suit keeps me warm, and I like to splash around in the streams. I've done biological surveys of streams for the city of Fayetteville, and this stream's probably pretty typical of the structure of the stream banks, which you can see is eroded with a lot of exposed roots and root wads and severe banks with exposed earth rather than vegetation. And there are measures that can be taken to allow these streams to perform as they would naturally, and the federal government, the state government, and non-profit conservation and recycling organizations are becoming aware of these methods, and hopefully we can encourage the city of Fayetteville and other municipalities to begin to implement what's called stream simulation, natural stream simulation, in their designs of roads and bridges and storm drainages and so forth. Primarily I'm a biologist, but this is a growing concern among environmentalists right now, because in order to help the biological communities that inhabit these streams, you basically have to rehabilitate their habitat. Either that or just move out and let it heal itself. But that's not going to happen, so somewhere in between the way things are right now and just abandoning these streams and letting nature reclaim them, we have to find some fine balance where we're able to practice commerce and live together in civilizations without living in our own offal, and without having to look at these ugly streams that would otherwise be very beautiful.
Well, thank you, Dan, for being down here and offering to work on this, because even when we have student groups, usually once a year, come through with a few scientists in some cases, help supervise those, but they're just young people and they're not prepared for it, and doing it in a warm time, there are things that might bite you. Not many dangerous snakes found in our streams here these days, but it only takes one to...
You're definitely going to get bit in the summertime.
Yeah.
Not by a snake most likely, but the chiggers, they'll get a hold of you. As long as you can be in the water all day, but just a quick walk up the bank and onto the road, and you'll have a whole mess of chiggers on you.
Right.
So wintertime is ideal for doing this type of work. Spring and early summer is a better time for doing biological assessments.
Right. Okay, well, thank you so much, and we'll see how this goes. You just, it looks like totally cleaned up all the white trash from up there. There's something floating down, coming down from above, but it keeps coming from up around the university.
First pass, we're probably getting about 95% of it, and some of the little tiny stuff is just floating. And I'm noticing that there's much more styrofoam that's trapped up on the banks than there is plastic or aluminum cans, and that's probably because these bottles will take on water and sink. Whereas a styrofoam cup, styrofoam is less dense than water, and the bottom of the styrofoam cup is going to turn itself up like this,
Uh-huh.
float, and eventually it's going to get
Caught up there.
Yeah.
And you can see up that bank how high it is, and this is just a moderate heavy rain we had in the last few days, and so this had a new coating. It was much worse than it looks now.
This litter has been accumulating.
Much of it's been in there. It's buried in the leaf debris and stuff, but you can see how high the water gets here in the background up there where you're standing. You're over 6 feet tall, aren't you? And your head is not nearly as high as that driveway up there, but it's only a foot and a half or something difference. So when it floods, it's all the way across the driveway up there, and I would be drowning. Well, I wouldn't be able to stand here when the flow's up, of course, because I mean it's so much higher at times that it's over the rail for brief periods. This street's blocked off. This is 11th Street between South Hill and South Duncan, and so these things, the more they pave upstream, the faster the flow and the higher it gets, and the more houses are threatened by it.
This is a section of stream that is frequently seen. What's the name of this street right up here?
This is 11th Street. It's
11th Street off of Hill Street, just south of MLK. People walk by here, cycle by here, drive by here, and they can see this, and everybody's going to appreciate, and they're just not going to be aware of how they can participate in something like that. Not everybody in Fayetteville's got a wetsuit. They're willing to jump out in the water when it's cold, but maybe they can help out, bring some trash bags, whatnot.
But it's a constant thing. I mean, you do this today and do a great job, and then the next big rain will bring quite a bit more. But
well, one thing
if somebody could do it regularly, if we had volunteers that would regularly do it, that would be wonderful.
One thing that the city of Fayetteville is really good about is building just miles and miles of bicycle trails for people, so that they can literally commute from home to work and to a grocery store on their bicycles. And a lot of these bike trails run alongside creeks. I don't know what floodplain they're in, if they're in the 5-year, the 10-year, the 20-year, but quite a few of them are there. And part of the reason that is practical, it's not practical to build, permanent fixtures, housing so close to a creek, but it's sort of a good deal, because people get to get down and see the streams flowing through, and see some of the native vegetation, and hopefully the city of Fayetteville will make an effort towards at least learning about natural stream simulation, and allowing these streams to correct themselves. And it's good for the city, because it's going to prevent erosion, and it's going to prevent flooding. And some people might be surprised to realize that widening a stream and digging out fill and dumping it somewhere in the long run is actually going to lead to increased flooding. And it's just not a science lesson or anything like that, but people can be trained, local citizens or municipal employees can be trained in the methods of simulated stream design, and take that into consideration when the city is making plans now and for the future.
Well, I think that's coming. It's just slow to change the way people do what they've always done, and if you're trained to do a certain thing, and then in mid-career
nobody's out here doing this because they're intentionally trying to make the environment less aesthetically pleasant. Granted, there are and there are always going to be problems with harmful wastes, hazardous wastes, and even toxic wastes making it into the stream, but that's more a problem for the professionals who have the gear to test for these chemical agents and the authority to work with the commercial interests that may or may not be responsible for the emissions of those wastes.
Well, thank you again, and I may have to pay for your lunch today, mister.
It's all fun, man. I like to get out here and splash around.
All right. Well, I do too, but I've gotten too old to enjoy it in the wintertime. Thank you, Dan.
You got it.